Admiral Sarah Chun stood at the huge window of Kepler Station and watched the stars. She had seen this view many times before, but today felt different. Today was the day that would change everything for humanity. She just did not know it yet. The space station was massive. It floated in the darkness between star systems like a small metal city. Humans had built it together with their alien friends from the Galactic Confederation. For 20 years, the different species had worked side by side. Humans brought their clever ideas and brave hearts. The aliens brought their old wisdom and powerful technology. Chun turned away from the window. Her blue uniform was clean and pressed. The silver stars on her shoulders showed she was an admiral in the human defense fleet, at 50 years old. She had gray hair but sharp eyes. She had spent half her life building friendship with the aliens. She believed in the alliance with all her heart. "Admiral, the meeting will start in 10 minutes, said Lieutenant Torres. He was young and nervous. This was his first big diplomatic mission. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Are all our people ready?" Chun asked. "Yes, ma'am. All 20 delegates are in the main conference room. They have their reports and data files ready to present." Chun nodded. Today's meeting was important. The humans were going to show their newest discoveries to the Confederation Council. They had found new ways to build faster ships and stronger shields. They wanted to share everything with their alien friends, just like they always did. The conference room was enormous. It had to be big enough for all the different alien species. The ceiling was high and covered with lights that looked like stars. Around a huge round table sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Ambassador Veltar represented the Zephyrians. His people looked like tall, thin humans with purple skin and 4 arms. They were known for being very smart and very careful with their words. Veltar had been friends with humans for many years. At least Chun thought he was a friend. Next to him sat the architect delegate. The architects were made of living crystal that changed colors when they talked. Their bodies looked like walking sculptures made of glass and light. They built the most beautiful cities in the galaxy. The swarm representative was harder to look at. It was actually thousands of small bug-like creatures that moved together as one mind. They formed the shape of a person, but the shape kept changing and shifting. The bugs made a soft buzzing sound when they talked. The strangest delegate was from the ethereals. They were made of pure energy and looked like a glowing cloud in the shape of a person. They spoke without voices, putting their words directly into everyone's minds. Chun took her seat at the table. The other human delegates sat on both sides of her. They all looked excited. They had worked hard to prepare for this meeting. They had new technologies to share and new trade agreements to discuss. "Welcome, friends," said Veltar. His voice was smooth and calm. "Today we gathered to discuss the future of our great alliance. Humanity has requested time to present their latest achievements." Chun stood up. "Thank you, Ambassador Veltar. We are honored to share our discoveries with the Council. As always, we believe that working together makes us all stronger." She pressed a button and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed a new type of spaceship engine that could travel faster than anything built before. "Our engineers have developed a new drive system," Chun began. "It uses quantum fields to bend space itself. With this technology, we can cut travel time between systems by half." The aliens leaned forward to study the hologram. The architect's crystals turned bright blue, which meant they were very interested. The swarm buzzed louder as thousands of minds thought about the design. Chun felt proud. Humans were good at building things and solving problems. They always found new ways to do the impossible. That was why the alliance worked so well. Each species brought their own special talents. "We also have new shield technology," continued Dr. Martinez, one of Chun's top scientists. "These shields can stop any known weapon. They adapt and change to match whatever attacks them." For the next hour, the humans showed their discoveries. New weapons, new defenses, new ways to travel between stars. The aliens asked many questions. They seemed very interested in every detail. Chun began to feel worried. Something was wrong. The aliens were asking strange questions. They wanted to know about weaknesses in human defenses. They asked about how many ships humanity had and where they were located. These were odd things to ask friends. Veltar stood up. His forearms moved in a formal pattern that meant he had something important to say. "Thank you for sharing your knowledge," he said. "The Council must now discuss a serious matter. We have received troubling information about human activities." June felt cold. What kind of information? Veltar pressed his own button. A new hologram appeared. It showed what looked like a secret human laboratory. In the hologram, human scientists were building enormous weapons that could destroy entire planets. "We have evidence that humanity has been developing forbidden weapons in secret," Veltar said. "You have violated the most sacred laws of the Confederation. You have betrayed our trust." Chun stared at the hologram. Her mouth fell open. "That is not real. We would never build such weapons. We have always shared everything with the Council." "The evidence is clear," said the architect. Its crystals had turned red, which meant anger. "Humans cannot be trusted. You pretend to be friends while preparing to destroy us all." The swarm's buzzing became loud and angry. "Humans are dangerous. They grow too fast. They learn too quickly. They must be stopped." The ethereal's voice appeared in everyone's mind. It was cold and final. "The Council has decided. Humanity is expelled from the Confederation. All human ships must leave Confederation space immediately." Chun jumped to her feet. "This is insane. Those images are fake. We have never broken any laws." But even as she spoke, she began to understand. This was not about broken laws. This was about fear. The aliens were afraid of humanity. They were afraid of how fast humans learned and grew. They were afraid that humans might become stronger than them. "You planned this," Chun said quietly. "The alliance was never real. You used us. You learned our secrets so you could destroy us." Veltar's expression did not change. "Security forces are already moving to arrest all human personnel on Confederation stations and ships. Human colonies will be blockaded. You have 1 hour to surrender." Alarms began to ring throughout the station. Chun could hear the sound of weapons charging and soldiers running through the corridors. Through the big windows, she could see Confederation warships turning their guns toward the small human fleet that had come for the peace talks. "Lieutenant," Torres grabbed Chun's arm. "Admiral, we need to go, now." Chun looked around the table at the alien faces. Some looked sad, others looked relieved. But none of them looked surprised. They had all known this was going to happen. "You made a mistake," Chun said to Veltar. "You could have remained our friends. Instead, you chose to make us your enemies. You will regret this choice." Veltar's forearms moved in a pattern that meant dismissal. "Humans are young and emotional. You will learn to accept your place in the galaxy, or you will be destroyed." Chun and her people ran from the conference room. Behind them they could hear the aliens already making plans to divide up human territory. The betrayal was complete. 20 years of friendship and trust had been thrown away in 20 minutes as they raced toward their ship. Chun's mind was already working on the future. The aliens thought they knew humans. They thought humans would surrender or beg for mercy. They were wrong. Humans had one quality that no other species truly understood. When humans were betrayed, when they were attacked, when they were pushed into a corner, they became something else entirely. They became dangerous. The war was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what they had just unleashed. 6 months had passed since the betrayal at Kepler Station. Admiral Chun stood in the command center on Earth, looking at screens that showed the terrible truth. Alien ships surrounded every human world like hungry wolves circling their prey. The blockade was complete. No ships could get in or out of human space. Trade had stopped. Supplies were running low on the outer colonies. Some worlds had already started rationing food and medicine. The aliens were slowly choking humanity to death. Chancellor Marcus Webb walked into the command center. He was a tall man with tired eyes and gray hair. 6 months ago, he had been planning trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Now he was planning for war. What is the latest report, Admiral? Webb asked. Chen pointed to a large screen that showed a map of human space. Red dots marked alien fleets. They outnumbered human ships 10 to 1. The Zephyrian fleet is positioned around our main trade routes, Chun said. The architects have their crystal ships near our mining colonies. The swarm is blocking the path to New Terra, our biggest farming world. And the ethereals are using their energy powers to jam our long-range communications, Webb rubbed his forehead. How long before the outer colonies start to surrender? Some of them already want to, Chun admitted. The people on Harmony Station sent a message yesterday. They are running out of medicine. Children are getting sick. They asked permission to surrender to the aliens. What did you tell them? I told them to hold on. Help is coming, Webb looked at her with surprise. What help? Our fleet is smaller than theirs. Our weapons are weaker. We are trapped. Chun smiled for the first time in months. Come with me, Chancellor. I want to show you something. They walked through the corridors of the military base. Everywhere they looked, people were working frantically. Engineers were building new machines. Scientists were testing strange devices. Soldiers were training with weapons that looked nothing. Like standard military equipment, they entered a huge workshop filled with spaceships, but these were not normal warships. These were cargo haulers, mining vessels, and passenger transports. Workers were attaching weapons to them and adding thick armor plating. What is all this? Webb asked. This is how humans fight when we have no choice, Chun said. We are not like the aliens. They have been the same for thousands of years. They fight the same way their ancestors fought, but humans adapt. We change. We find new ways to win. A young engineer named Rodriguez ran up to them. His hands were covered in grease and his eyes were bright with excitement. Admiral, we finished the modifications on the mining ship. You have to see this. They followed Rodriguez to a massive ship that had once carried ore from asteroid belts. Now it bristled with missile launchers and plasma cannons. But the most interesting change was at the front of the ship. We kept the mining laser, Rodriguez explained. But we made it 10 times more powerful. This thing can cut through any known armor like it was paper. The aliens will never expect a mining ship to be this dangerous. Webb stared at the transformed vessel. How many ships have you converted like this? Over 300 so far, Chun sighed. Cargo ships with hidden weapons. Passenger liners with stealth technology. Even our school ships have been turned into mobile command centers. The aliens think they know how many warships we have. They are wrong. They moved to another section of the workshop. Here, Dr. Elena Vasquez was working with a team of scientists on something that looked like a cross between a computer and a living organism. Dr. Vasquez is our best scientist, Chun explained. She has been working on new technologies using alien equipment we captured during our escape from Kepler Station. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her work. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. Admiral, perfect timing. We just had a breakthrough. She held up a small device that seemed to shimmer and change color. These are adaptive nanobots. They can change their structure to match whatever they encounter. Send them against alien shields, and they will learn how to pass through. Send them against alien armor, and they will find the weak spots. How do they work? Webb asked. Think of them like metal insects, Dr. Vasquez said. But insects that can think and learn and change. We can send millions of them at an alien ship. The first 1,000 might fail, but they will send information back to the others. The next 1,000 will be better. Eventually, they will find a way through any defense. Chun led Webb to the final section of the workshop. Here, weapons? Designers were working on something completely different. These weapons looked crude and simple compared to the elegant alien technology. But Chen knew that sometimes simple weapons were the most effective. Kinetic rounds, explained the lead designer, a man named Carter. The aliens have energy shields that can stop lasers and plasma bolts. But they have trouble with old-fashioned solid objects moving very fast. He showed them a cannon that fired metal rods at incredible speeds. We call them rail guns. They accelerate a piece of metal to nearly the speed of light. No energy shield in the galaxy can stop pure kinetic force. Webb was beginning to understand. You are preparing for a different kind of war. Exactly, Chun said. The aliens expect us to fight like them. They expect formal battles with neat formations and proper tactics. They think war has rules. But humans know that when someone tries to destroy your entire species, there are no rules. They walked to the communications center, where operators were coordinating with resistance cells across human space. Despite the blockade, messages were still getting through using hidden relay stations and coded broadcasts. The people on the colonies are not just sitting and waiting, Chun said. They are preparing too. Farmers are building improvised weapons from their equipment. Miners are learning to use their tools as bombs. Even the children are helping by gathering intelligence on alien patrol patterns. Webb listened to the radio chatter. He heard reports from dozens of worlds. People were angry, they were scared, but they were not giving up. Admiral Chun, came a voice over the intercom. We have an incoming transmission from the alien fleet. They want to speak to the Chancellor. Webb and Chun hurried to the main communication center. On the large screen appeared the familiar purple face of Ambassador Veltar. Behind him, Chun could see the bridge of a massive Zephyrian warship. Chancellor Webb, Veltar said in his smooth voice. 6 months have passed since we gave humanity the chance to surrender peacefully. Your people are suffering. Your colonies are starving. This can all end if you simply accept the terms of the Confederation. Webb stepped forward. What terms? Complete disarmament of all human military forces, removal of all humans from positions of political power, placement of human worlds under direct Confederation control, and relocation of human populations to designated reservation areas. You mean slavery, Webb said. We mean proper supervision, Veltar replied. Humans are too dangerous to govern themselves. But under our guidance you can live peaceful, productive lives. Webb was quiet for a long moment. Chun could see the anger building in his eyes. I have a counteroffer, Webb finally said. Leave our space now, and we will not destroy every alien world in the galaxy, Veltar laughed. It was a cold, superior sound. Chancellor, you have perhaps 200 warships. We have over 2,000. Your weapons are primitive. Your technology is centuries behind ours. What could you possibly do to threaten us? Webb smiled. It was not a nice smile. You spent 20 years learning our technology, but you never learned the most important thing about humans. We do not fight to win, we fight to survive. And when humans fight to survive, we become something you cannot understand. Empty threats. Will not, Veltar began. Webb cut off the transmission. The screen went dark. Chun looked at the Chancellor with new respect. What are your orders, sir? Webb turned to address the entire command center. Every person in the room stopped what they were doing to listen. For 6 months we have been preparing. For 6 months we have been building and planning and adapting. The aliens think they have us trapped. They think we are weak and helpless. They are about to learn how wrong they are. He paused and looked around the room at all the human faces. Scientists and soldiers, engineers and pilots, all united by the betrayal they had suffered. Send word to every human world, every hidden base, every resistance cell. Tell them that tomorrow we begin Operation Broken Trust. Tell them that the time for defense is over. Now we attack. The room erupted in cheers. After months of waiting and preparing, humanity was finally ready to fight back. Chun smiled as she watched the excitement spread through the command center. The aliens had made one crucial mistake. They had given humans time to prepare. And when humans had time to prepare, they could accomplish impossible things. The war was about to begin in earnest, and the aliens had no idea what was coming for them. Operation Broken Trust began at exactly midnight Earth time. Across human space, converted cargo ships and mining vessels powered up their engines and prepared to attack. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as her ragtag fleet moved into position. The first target was a Zephyrian patrol group near the mining colony of New Ceres. The aliens had 12 warships arranged in a perfect formation, just like their military manuals taught them. They were confident and relaxed. They had been blockading the colony for months without any trouble. Captain Rodriguez commanded the lead attack ship, a former ice hauler now bristling with hidden weapons. His crew was made up of miners, cargo pilots, and maintenance workers. None of them were trained soldiers, but they all had one thing in common. They were angry. "Remember the plan?" Rodriguez told his crew over the intercom. "We do not fight like they expect. We do not follow their rules. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we disappear before they know what happened." The human ships approached, the alien patrol using an old trick. They pretended to be desperate refugees trying to escape the colony. Their weapons were hidden behind false cargo containers. Their engines were set to low power to look like they were damaged. The Zephyrian commander, Captain Teichville, watched the approaching human ships with boredom. This happened every few days. Desperate humans would try to run the blockade, and his ships would easily capture them. "Another group of refugees," Teichville told his crew. "Prepare to board them. Process them according to standard procedures." But as the human ships came closer, something unexpected happened. The cargo container suddenly fell away, revealing massive railguns and missile launchers. The damaged engines roared to full power, and the desperate refugees became a pack of hungry wolves. The first railgun shot hit Teichville's ship before he could even give an order. The metal rod punched through his shields like they were made of paper. It tore through 3 decks and destroyed the main reactor. The proud Zephyrian warship began to break apart. "Impossible," Teichville screamed. "Human weapons cannot penetrate." "Our shields?" Rodriguez's voice came over the communication channel. "These are not the same humans you knew before. We have learned new tricks." The other human ships opened fire. Rail guns sent streams of metal death through space. Missiles with adaptive warheads found weak spots in alien armor. And the strangest weapons of all, clouds of nanobots, swarmed over alien ships like metal insects. The nanobots were Dr. Vasquez's masterpiece. The first wave hit the Zephyrian shields and was destroyed. But before they died, they sent information back to the second wave. The second wave was smarter. It found tiny gaps in the shield matrix. The third wave made the gaps bigger. By the fourth wave, the nanobots were pouring through the shields like water through a broken dam inside the alien ships. The nanobots began to eat everything they could find. They consumed metal, plastic, and electronics. They learned the alien technology by destroying it piece by piece. And they sent everything they learned back to the human scientist, Captain. Teichville watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. In 10 minutes, 12 powerful warships had been reduced to floating scrap metal. The humans had not lost a single ship. "Retreat," he ordered. "Send word to the fleet. The humans have new weapons." But it was too late. Rodriguez's ship fired one final shot. The railgun round hit Teichville's ship and finished what the first shot had started. The Zephyrian captain died, never understanding how primitive humans had defeated advanced alien technology. Across human space, similar attacks were happening. Near the farming world of Harmony, a swarm hive ship found itself surrounded by what looked like helpless passenger liners. When the attack began, the passenger ships revealed hidden sonic weapons that disrupted the swarm's hive-mind connection. Thousands of alien bugs fell dead as their shared consciousness was shattered. At the research station of Kepler-7, an architect crystal ship was attacked by a disguised school transport. The humans had discovered that certain sound frequencies could shatter architect crystal bodies. They broadcast these frequencies at full power, and the beautiful crystal ship exploded, like a glass sculpture hit by a hammer. But the most devastating attack happened near Earth itself. An ethereal energy being had been monitoring human communications from what it thought was a safe distance. The ethereal was made of pure energy and believed it was invisible to human sensors. Dr. Vasquez had spent months studying the captured alien technology from Kepler Station. She had learned something interesting about the ethereals. Their energy forms followed patterns like radio waves or light beams. And if you could disrupt those patterns, you could hurt them, the human attack. Ship fired what looked like a harmless scanning beam at the ethereal, but the beam carried a special quantum virus that Dr. Vasquez had designed. The virus spread through the ethereal's energy matrix like a disease. Within minutes, the powerful alien being was writhing in agony as its own energy turned against it. The ethereal tried to escape, but the quantum virus had infected its ability to move. It became trapped in space, slowly tearing itself apart. Its psychic screams of pain and confusion were picked up by every ethereal in the galaxy. Back on Earth, Admiral Chun watched the reports coming in from across human space. Every attack had been successful. Every alien patrol had been destroyed or driven off. But she knew this was just the beginning. Excellent work, she told her staff. But remember, this was the easy part. We caught them by surprise. They will not make the same mistake twice. Chancellor Webb joined her in the command center. His face showed both pride and worry. What are our losses? Minimal, Chun reported. We lost 3 ships total. The aliens lost over 60. But more importantly, we captured 2 Zephyrian vessels intact and recovered the wreckage of an architect ship. Dr. Vasquez's teams are already studying them. Webb nodded. And what did we learn? Dr. Vasquez appeared on a video screen from her laboratory. She looked tired, but excited. We learned something very important, Chancellor. The aliens are not as advanced as they pretended to be. Most of their technology is thousands of years old. They stopped innovating long ago because they thought they were already perfect. What does that mean for us? Webb asked. It means we can beat them, Chun said. They have better ships and more powerful weapons right now. But we are learning faster than they are. Every battle teaches us something new. Every captured ship gives us more of their secrets. Chun pulled up a star map that showed the locations of major alien worlds. I propose we move to Phase 2 of the operation. We stop playing defense, we take the war to their home systems. Webb looked at the map with concern. That is a big risk, Admiral. If we attack their homeworlds, they will respond with everything. They have. Good, Chun said. Let them bring everything. The more ships they send after us, the fewer ships they have defending their colonies. And we have one advantage they do not understand, which is? We are not trying to conquer them. We are trying to survive. That makes us more dangerous than any weapon they have. Chun turned to address the entire command center. Send new orders to all human fleets. Tell them to prepare for deep strikes against alien territory. Tell our people on the colonies to keep building weapons and training fighters. And tell them that humanity is no longer hiding. She paused and looked around the room at all the determined faces. The aliens wanted to see what humans become when we are pushed into a corner. They are about to find out. In space around Earth, the human fleet began to move. Converted cargo ships, transformed mining vessels, and disguised passenger liners all powered up their engines. They were heading for alien space, carrying death and destruction to worlds that had never known war. The aliens had started this fight by betraying their human allies. They had expected humanity to surrender or die quietly. Instead, they had created something far worse than they could have imagined. They had created humans with nothing left to lose, and humans with nothing left to lose were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. The real war was about to begin, and this time, the aliens would learn what it meant to be afraid. The attack on Zephyr Prime began 3 weeks after Operation Broken Trust. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of her flagship as the human fleet approached the alien homeworld. Around her, converted mining ships and cargo haulers prepared for the biggest battle in human history. Zephyr Prime was a beautiful world with purple skies and crystal cities. It was home to 12 billion Zephyrians and had never been attacked in over 3,000 years. The aliens believed their homeworld was safe behind massive orbital defense platforms and thousands of warships. Admiral, we are detecting over 1,500 enemy vessels, reported Lieutenant Torres. His voice was steady, but Chun could see the worry in his eyes. The human fleet had only 300 ships. Good, Chun said calmly. The more ships they have here, the fewer they have protecting their other worlds. Dr. Vasquez, are the special weapons ready? Dr. Vasquez looked up from her control station. In the past months, she had become the most important scientist in human space. Her adaptive technologies had given humanity a fighting chance against superior alien forces. All systems ready, Admiral. The bioweapon is loaded in the missile tubes. The nanite swarms are prepared for release, and the sonic disruptors are charged to full power, Chun nodded. The weapons Dr. Vasquez had created were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humans had always been good at finding new ways to solve problems. When the problem was an alien species trying to destroy humanity, humans had found very creative solutions. The Zephyrian fleet moved to intercept the approaching humans. Their ships were elegant and powerful, with smooth purple hulls and energy weapons that could melt asteroids. Admiral Castera commanded the defense fleet from her massive flagship. She had fought pirates and rebels for centuries, but she had never fought humans before. These primitives dare to attack our sacred homeworld? Castera said to her officers. They will learn the price of such arrogance. All ships, prepare to engage. Show them the power of the Confederation. The space battle began with the aliens. Firing first. Beams of pure energy lashed out across the darkness, striking human ships with devastating force. 3 converted cargo haulers exploded immediately, but the other human ships did not retreat. Instead, they did something the aliens did not expect. They scattered. Instead of fighting in neat formations like proper warships, the human vessels spread out in all directions. Some dove toward the planet. Others climbed above the orbital plane. A few actually flew directly at the largest alien ships, as if they planned to ram them. What are they doing? Castera demanded. This is not proper fleet tactics. Her tactical officer, a young Zephyrian named Velsas, studied the sensor readings with confusion. Admiral, their movements make no sense. They are not following any known battle plan. But Chun knew exactly what her fleet was doing. Humans had learned something important during the Alliance years. Alien species thought in patterns. They followed rules and traditions that were thousands of years old. Humans did not think that way. When humans were desperate, they threw away all the rules. The first surprise came when a human cargo ship that seemed to be running away suddenly reversed course and flew straight at a Zephyrian cruiser. The alien captain ordered his ship to destroy the approaching vessel, but just before impact, the cargo ship's hull split open like a flower. Inside were not cargo containers, but thousands of metal spheres. Each sphere contained a swarm of Dr. Vasquez's adaptive nanobots. The spheres scattered in all directions, and some of them made it through the alien ship's defenses. Once inside the Zephyrian vessel, the nanobots began their work. They ate through hull plating, consumed electronics, and learned everything they could about alien technology. Within minutes, the proud warship was a floating wreck, but the nanobots did more than just destroy. They also transmitted everything they learned back to the human fleet. Each destroyed alien ship taught the nanobots how to destroy the next one faster and more efficiently. Impossible! Castera screamed as she watched her ships fall one by one. Our shields should stop those metal insects. The insects are learning, Admiral, Velsas reported with growing panic. Each wave is more effective than the last. They are adapting to our defenses faster than we can change them. The second surprise came from above. A group of human ships that had climbed high above the battle suddenly released thousands of small objects. They looked like pieces of space junk, but they were actually Dr. Vasquez's most devastating weapon. The objects were biobombs, designed specifically to target Zephyrian physiology. Dr. Vasquez had spent months studying captured alien genetic material. She had created a virus that would be harmless to humans but deadly to purple-skinned aliens. The biobombs exploded in the upper atmosphere of Zephyr Prime. The virus spread through the air like invisible death. On the surface of the planet, Zephyrians began to fall sick. Their purple skin turned gray, their forearms became weak. Within hours, millions were dying. Casthera watched her homeworld burn and felt something she had never experienced before. Fear, real, cold, desperate fear. The humans were not just attacking military targets. They were trying to exterminate her entire species. "Admiral, we must negotiate," Valsas begged. "They are committing genocide." "No," Casthera said through gritted teeth. "This is war. They started it when they refused to accept their place. We will finish it." But even as she spoke, more human surprises were unfolding. A mining ship equipped with sonic weapons approached one of the orbital defense platforms. The platform was a massive structure made of crystalline materials that had been built by architect engineers. Centuries ago, the mining ship began to broadcast sound waves at a very specific frequency. Dr. Vasquez had discovered that the crystalline materials used in alien construction had a fatal weakness. If you hit them with exactly the right sound, they would shatter like glass. The orbital platform began to vibrate. Cracks appeared in its crystal structure. Then, with a sound like breaking bells, the entire massive station collapsed into glittering fragments. One by one, the human ships destroyed the orbital defenses using sonic weapons, nanobots, and pure kinetic force. The aliens had more ships and bigger guns, but they could not adapt fast enough to counter human ingenuity. The final blow came from an unexpected source. Captain Rodriguez, the former ice hauler pilot who had led the first attacks, commanded a small ship that approached the planet's main gravity generator. This device kept the planet's moons in stable orbits and controlled the tides. Rodriguez's ship fired a single railgun round at the gravity generator. The shot was perfectly aimed, striking the device's core control system. The generator overloaded and exploded with the force of a small star. Without the gravity generator, Zephyr Prime's 3 moons began to fall toward the planet. The tidal forces started tearing the planet apart. Earthquakes shook the crystal cities. Oceans boiled and rose. The beautiful purple sky turned dark with smoke and ash. Maril Casthera watched her homeworld die and finally understood what humanity had become. These were not the same creatures who had begged for membership in the Confederation 20 years ago. The alliance and the betrayal had changed them into something new. Something terrible. "Send surrender signals to all ships," she ordered quietly. "Admiral?" Valsas asked in shock. "You heard me. Order all vessels to stand down. Contact the human fleet. Tell them we yield." Chun received the surrender message on her flagship. Around her, the human crew cheered as they watched the mighty Zephyrian fleet power down its weapons. But Chang did not feel like celebrating. Too many people had died today on both sides. "Admiral Chun," came Casthera's voice over the communication channel. "I request permission to speak." Chun nodded to her communications officer. "Put her through." The face of the Zephyrian admiral appeared on the main screen. She looked old and defeated. Her purple skin was pale, and her 4 arms hung limply at her sides. "You have won this battle," Casthera said. "But at what cost? You have destroyed an entire world. Billions of my people are dead or dying. Is this what humanity has become?" Chun was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke in a voice that was hard as steel. "You asked us to be your friends. We offered you our trust, our knowledge, and our loyalty. You threw it all away because you were afraid of what we might become." She leaned forward, her eyes burning with cold fire. "Well, now you know what we became when you made us your enemies. You created this, Admiral. You and your Confederation. You wanted to see humans at war. Congratulations, you succeeded." Casthera closed her eyes. "What happens now?" "Now you send word to every alien fleet in the galaxy," Chun said. "Tell them that Zephyr Prime has fallen. Tell them that humanity is coming for the rest of your worlds. And tell them that this is what happens to species that break their word to humans." The communication ended. Around the dying planet, the human fleet began to regroup. They had proven that alien homeworlds could be destroyed. They had shown that no defense was strong enough to stop human determination, but Chun knew the war was far from over. The other alien species would fight even harder now that they understood what humans were capable of. The final battles would be the most terrible of all. Humanity had crossed a line today. They had become the very thing the aliens had feared, and there was no going back. 2 years after the fall of Zephyr Prime, the war was over. Admiral Chun stood in the ruins of the old Confederation capital on Nexus Station. The once great meeting halls were empty and silent. Broken alien technology littered the floors. The air smelled of smoke and defeat. The human victory had been complete and terrible. After Zephyr Prime fell, the other alien species had tried to fight back with everything they had. It had not been enough. Humanity had learned too much and adapted too quickly. One by one, the alien homeworlds had burned. Chun walked through the abandoned corridors, remembering the first time she had visited this place. 25 years ago, she had come here as a young officer, full of hope for peace between the species. Now, she was Grand Admiral of the Human Empire, ruler of a galaxy that had been cleansed of alien resistance. Chancellor Webb, now calling himself Emperor Webb, waited for her in the central command chamber. He stood before a massive window that looked out over the graveyard of alien ships floating around the station. His hair had gone completely white during the war, and his eyes had grown cold and hard. "The final reports are in," Webb said, without turning around. "The architect homeworld of Crystalline is completely shattered. The sonic weapons worked perfectly. Billions of crystal beings turned to dust in a matter of hours." Chun nodded. The architects had been beautiful creatures, living sculptures of light and glass. They had created the most amazing art in the galaxy. Now they were extinct, except for a few survivors hiding in the outer rim of space. "What about the swarm worlds?" Chun asked. "All 17 hive planets have been sterilized," Webb replied. Dr. Vasquez's psychic virus spread through their collective consciousness like wildfire. The few surviving bugs have no hive mind left to connect to. They are just mindless insects now. The swarm had been the most alien of all the species. Trillions of small creatures that shared one vast mind. They had been curious and friendly during the Alliance years. But when the war began, they had fought with the desperate fury of a cornered animal. It had not saved them. And the ethereals? Webb smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. The quantum scramblers worked better than we hoped. Their energy forms could not survive the reality distortions. Most of them simply stopped existing. The few that remain are trapped in containment fields on our research stations. Chun felt nothing as she heard these reports. No sadness, no guilt, no satisfaction. The war had burned all emotions out of her except one, the determination to make sure humanity never faced extinction again. "How many alien survivors total?" she asked. "Less than 50 million across all species," Webb said. "Scattered across 1,000 worlds in the outer rim. They pose no threat to us anymore. They can barely feed themselves, let alone build new fleets. 50 million survivors out of trillions. The numbers were almost too large to understand. In 2 years of war, humanity had accomplished something that had never happened before in galactic history. They had destroyed entire civilizations. Dr. Vasquez entered the command chamber, carrying a data tablet. She looked older and more tired than Chun remembered. Creating weapons of mass destruction had taken its toll on the brilliant scientist. "The terraforming ships are ready," Dr. Vasquez reported. "We can begin converting the alien worlds for human settlement within 6 months. The atmospheric processors will make them suitable for human life. How many new worlds will we gain?" Webb asked. "Over 3,000 habitable planets," Dr. Vasquez said. "Enough space for humanity to grow for centuries. And we have learned so much from alien technology. Our ships are now faster than anything the old Confederation ever built. Our weapons can destroy entire star systems if necessary." Chun walked to the window and looked out at the debris field. Among the wreckage, she could see human construction ships already building new stations and orbital facilities. Humanity was not just occupying the galaxy. They were rebuilding it in their own image. "There is one more thing," Dr. Vasquez said quietly. "The long-range sensors have detected something interesting in the Andromeda Galaxy. Energy signatures. That look like spaceship engines. Very advanced engines. Webb and Chun both turned to stare at her. Are you saying there are more aliens? Webb asked. Possibly. The signals are very faint, but they show signs of intelligence. If there are alien civilizations in other galaxies, they might eventually discover what happened here. Chun felt a familiar stirring in her chest. It was not fear, exactly. It was anticipation. The war had changed humanity in ways that went deeper than technology or tactics. Humans had learned that they were capable of anything when their survival was threatened. Let them come, Chun said. If there are aliens in other galaxies, let them look at what we did to the Confederation. Let them see what happens to species that threaten humanity. Webb nodded in agreement. We will be ready for them. We have the entire galaxy now. All the resources, all the knowledge, all the strategic advantages. And we have something else that no alien species understands. What is that? Dr. Vasquez asked. We have the memory of betrayal, Webb said. We will never again trust aliens, who smile and offer friendship. We know what they really think of us. They see us as dangerous primitives who need to be controlled or destroyed. Chun turned away from the window and faced the other two humans. They were right to fear us. We are dangerous. We are the species that destroyed a galactic civilization in 2 years. We are the ones who turned entire worlds into graveyards. She paused and looked around the ruined command chamber. But they made one mistake. They thought they could control that danger by betraying us first. Instead, they just taught us how to use it. Dr. Vasquez consulted her tablet again. The first wave of human colonists is ready to depart for the former alien worlds. Families with children, mostly. They want to build new lives on the planets we conquered. Good, Webb said. Let them go. Let human children grow up on worlds that once belonged to aliens. Let them learn from birth that humanity rules the galaxy, because we are stronger and smarter than anything else out there. Chun imagined human children playing in the ruins of alien cities, learning about the war from their parents, growing up in a universe where humanity was the undisputed master. Those children would never know the fear and desperation that had driven their parents to such terrible acts. What about the alien survivors? Dr. Vasquez asked. Some of our scientists think we should study them. Learn more about their biology and culture. No, Webb said firmly. We have learned everything useful from them already. The survivors can live out their lives in the outer rim if they want, but they will never again have the power to threaten humanity. Chun agreed. The surviving aliens were broken and scattered. They had no fleets, no weapons, no unified leadership. They were refugees, in their own galaxy, dependent on human mercy for their continued existence. There is one more decision to make, Webb said. What do we call our new empire? The old human governments are gone. Earth is now the capital of something much larger. Chun thought about it. The Human Federation had been destroyed by the alien. Betrayal. The Human Defense Fleet had become an army of conquest. They needed a new name for what they had become. The Terran Empire, she said finally, to remind everyone that Earth is the center of galactic power now, and to remind ourselves that we came from one small world and conquered them all. Webb smiled and nodded. The Terran Empire it is. And I think we should send a message to any aliens who might be listening in other galaxies. A message that explains what happened here and why. Chun walked to the communication console and activated the long-range transmitters. Her voice would travel across space for millions of years, carrying humanity's warning to civilizations that had not yet been born. 2. Any intelligent species who receives this message, she began. My name is Grand Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Empire. 25 years ago, humanity sought friendship with the aliens of this galaxy. We offered trust, cooperation, and peace. In return, we were betrayed, blockaded, and marked for extinction. She paused and looked out at the graveyard of alien ships. This is what remains of the Galactic Confederation. They broke the alliance because they feared what humanity might become. Now they know. We are the species that does not forgive betrayal. We are the ones who respond to existential threats with total war. We are the empire that was born from the ashes of alien arrogance. Chun ended the transmission and turned back. To Webb and Dr. Vasquez, around them the empty station creaked and settled, a monument to the price of underestimating humanity. The war was over. The galaxy belonged to humans now. And in the depths of space, human ships were already heading for other galaxies, carrying the lessons learned from the greatest conflict in history. They had been called dangerous primitives. They had proven the aliens right. And they would never apologize for it.